guys, Daeyungi here, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about K-pop groups who I feel are currently leading or will soon be leading the current generation we're in, which is 4th gen. By this, I mean the sorts of groups who I personally think are standing out more than the rest for various reasons and have the potential to be some of the biggest groups of the current generation. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not 100% clear on what the boundaries are and what debut year makes you 4th gen or 3rd, but I think as far as I'm aware, all the groups I'm about to mention fit the criteria of 4th gen. Before we start, all the usual disclaimers apply here. Please note that these are just my opinions, and I encourage you to share yours in the comments as long as we're trying our best to remain respectful towards each other. And as always, I am in no way intending to send any hates to any artist or individual throughout this video. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. The first group I'm going to talk about today is Stray Kids. I think this one may be one of those people are expecting to see, and it's definitely a good reason in my opinion. A lot of people have labelled Stray Kids 4th gen leaders since pretty much the very beginning because they debuted as these monster rookies, and they've only gotten stronger and stronger ever since. I personally also think it helps a lot that they have 3 Ratcha, which for those who don't know is a subunit of the group consisting of members Bangchan, Changbin, and Han. And aside from being a unit in their own right, they're also involved a lot in the producing, composing, and songwriting for the group too. So I think this helps the group as a whole because, not to dumb it down, but they know what they're doing, you know? They're able to play a part in creating a sound that they want, and that really comes across in their music. You can feel the passion and the personal touch whenever the members have been involved in a release. Stray Kids to me feels actualized now, especially since like God's Menu era. I've personally found a really interesting correlation in where they are in their careers to when I started standing Stray Kids properly, after kind of seeing what they've released for a few years and either loving or hating it. And I think it was when I personally felt like they had decided the exact direction they wanted to go in after all the experimentation, and rather than like some groups who perhaps have their music given to them and don't have as much of an involvement, I like that it seems to have the Stray Kids print on every one of their concepts. It's them and they make sure you know it. That's something we definitely need from a group who wants to be leading the 4th gen, someone who knows who they are. Next group we're going to talk about are future 4th gen leaders, I hope, Purple Kiss. This group was one of the first ones that came to mind for me when I decided I was going to do this video because they have recently become one of my favourite groups, to be honest. So yes, this may be a little bit biased, but I'm hoping you'll understand my reasons too. Purple Kiss so far feel different from all the other 4th gen girl groups, if that makes any sense. Not just in their music, which I definitely think is some of the most unique around at the moment, but also their whole vibe in general. They're like a breath of fresh air for me at the moment, and all of their music is giving me something that I didn't even realize I was missing. I really like that they seem to be the leaders within their own concept at the moment, you know, that kind of spooky but make it a fun bop thing, and it really suits them. I know it didn't quite fit that concept yet because they hadn't really discovered it as much, but when they debuted with Ponzona, I was so hoping they would carry on making quote-unquote what I thought was good music, because that debut was so strong, you would never guess it was a first release. The girls are so talented, and they have these 2 vocalists, Goen and Swan, who are absolutely killing it. The duo have very different voices, but they bounce off each other so well. Although this group haven't been around for long, I just see such a huge potential in them, to the point where I know if they keep going the way they are, and people give them the attention they deserve, then they absolutely have what it takes to be up there with some of the biggest groups of the generation. Much like their label mate elders Mamamoo, who were 3rd gen leaders in my opinion. Honestly, I know this will sound biased, but I think they deserve it. There's something special about them that K-pop is lacking, and it's refreshing. The next group I think we'll see playing a part in the 4th gen leaders is IVE. Like it or hate it, this group are absolutely going to be up there with some of the greats, I think. I don't know what it is, but for every group of people that love IVE, I see a hater. Like there's always some sort of animosity towards them for whatever reason. I don't know, people just hate when pretty girls are both talented and successful as well, I guess. No, but seriously, IVE so far have not been around for very long, but not one of their songs have missed. Not one title track or B-side have been a miss. They're all really good. Kind of like I said for Purple Kiss, I also feel like they already have a sound. Whenever I hear an IVE song, I'm like, yep, that's them, and it makes sense. Also, for a group so new, there's just something about them that makes them feel like true seasoned artists who have been around for years. I know they have a couple of members who have done this girl group thing before, but that's only 2 of the members. The group as a whole have that whole seasoned pro quality about them. I saw IVE perform at K-pop Flex in Frankfurt. They opened the show on day 1, and we all know how hard it is to open up for a show, especially a big festival like that, but they did it with ease, and they sang live, and then they spoke to the crowd, and from listening to the way they interacted with the crowd, they genuinely seem like such lovely girls. One of them also had a mic issue, if I remember rightly, and they ran off stage to get it sorted and then ran back on. She wasn't fazed in the slightest. I honestly can't wait to see them carry on growing and thriving, because their success seems to be annoying some people, which is hilarious, because I think they've earned it, and I think they'll carry on earning it. Another group who are going to be leading the 4th gen is Tomorrow by Together, or TXT. In their 3-year lifespan so far, I think that's what it's been now, TXT have experimented with multiple different styles and concepts, and every time I've thought, oh my god, this suits TXT so much, I don't know how they'll ever top this. And then they come back with another concept and they outdo themselves again. They're just so versatile, and I think that is a quality about them that is going to make them unstoppable, because they can adapt and turn their hand to anything, which might be needed one day. I can't help but love them and every concept they do, even when I thought it wouldn't match my own style and preferences so much. It's just the way they always pull it off. I've also seen them in various interviews, and every one of the members is likable in their own way. Again, even their personalities are versatile. So I feel like because they're all so different, they just mesh together perfectly. It's like somebody googled the formula for a perfect K-pop group and then bam, they made TXT. Like, I've stan them since debut, and I'm normally one of those people who picks a bias and then is loyal for the whole time, but I've even had a hard time picking one member and sticking to it because there's always someone up there and they're always swapping places. I recently watched that picnic thing Hybe did where they had various artists from Hybe labels all come together and play games. RIP, I can't remember what it's called, I'm sorry. But yeah, it was so interesting to see all these different Hybe artists, both elders and youngers of TXT, just absolutely fall in love with them and being in awe of everything they do. They really do have that sort of star quality energy about them. 4th gen leader energy, one might say. It's just so intriguing. The next group I think will be up there leading the 4th gen is LE SSERAFIM. I know people may be expecting this one as well, simply because of the label they've come from and the successful start they've had, and they already had popular members before debut, blah blah blah. But aside from that, I don't know if it's just me, but I really see something special in this group already. I know I'm kind of sticking my neck out a bit on this one because they've only had literally one song debut so far, and like the album, and they've not had a comeback yet, but I'm really excited to see what sort of sounds and concepts they explore in future and what their comeback will be like, etc., so I can make my mind up for sure. But from what I've seen so far, LE SSERAFIM just makes sense to me. Does that make sense to say? The members of the group all have a specific role that when they come together is a bit of everything you need in a group, and they seem to gel together really well. I won't focus too much on a certain controversy, but I feel like I have to brush over it rather than just ignoring it so we can get to this next point. So since that controversy happened, and that's been done and dusted, they just seem even stronger now than they already did. They've picked up the pieces and carried on like true professionals. Again, coming back to that Hybe picnic video thing that I mentioned TXT in, LE SSERAFIM were also in it, and I loved getting to know them as a group because I hadn't really seen them in anything before that. I feel like their vibe is really genuine, something we need in 4th gen. They're really sweet girls who seemed so comfortable around their elders, which for a group who just debuted under a big label is so impressive. I could completely understand them being a bit more reserved if they wanted to be. It's almost as if they were born for this, like they absolutely belong to be rubbing shoulders with big artists, and I think if we give it a couple of years, they definitely will be. Another group we absolutely cannot leave out of the conversation is ATEEZ. I mean, first things first, ATEEZ are already considered 4th gen leaders. The Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism have already labelled ATEEZ as 4th gen leaders, and now they're official global ambassadors for Korean culture and tourism. So unlike some of the ones on this list where it's like, oh, I hope they will be someday, I'll give it a couple years. No, they've had their couple of years and they've earned their position. They're already there, and with good reason. This description is going to be pretty similar to the one I gave for Stray Kids in the beginning, but again, I also feel like ATEEZ debuted with a banger, and I still remember them being so impressive, and I was floored by Pirate King. They were just another monster rookie in my opinion, but it's been a few years now and they're still having that effect. I think it's one of those groups where they have everything you need. They've got one of the best leaders in K-pop at the moment in Hongjoong. He appeared in one of my K-pop idols who passed the vibe check videos, and they also have by far one of who I think is the best 4th gen male vocalists around in Jongho. I am never not in awe of his voice, and he makes it look effortless. I can't believe ATEEZ only debuted 4 years ago because they seem to have done and achieved so much. Like, they have this huge global following, they've toured the world. I saw them when they came to the UK, and I can confirm they put on a show well worth the 2-year wait, and they've built up a really solid discography, but they haven't seemed to settle at all. They're still dabbling in different concepts to see what works best for them, and I personally think you can see them growing every time they experiment. I love that. They aren't afraid to challenge themselves, and this will help them keep on soaring to the heights of 4th gen, like they deserve. Last but not least for today's video, I would also like to include one more group, STAYC. I'm not gonna lie, hear me out, but I don't know if I personally see STAYC getting to as high a level as some other groups on this list, which I don't mean as a read or in like a negative way. I do see a very, very bright future for this group as one of the groups leading 4th gen. That's why I'm including them in this video, but I'm not sure exactly how huge they will be, but I do think they'll carry on doing great things if they stay on the trajectory they are currently on, you know what I mean? I know I've already used this argument for IVE, and I've been a bit of a broken record during this video video, but that's because we're talking about the sorts of qualities I'm personally looking for in a 4th gen leader. And one of those aspects already mentioned applies here too. Perhaps even more so because they've been around for a little longer and had more comebacks, but yeah, it's the fact that they have not had one miss yet, not one bad release. That is impressive. In their short time so far, Stacey have already had a few comebacks and they've always been bang on the money for the group. They seem to have this Stacey sound already, where although not one of their releases have sounded the same, they all still sound like a Stacey song. I don't know how they do it. I've really enjoyed seeing how well they managed to make every concept they've tried work for them. I remember when they debuted, I'd never really heard a song like So Bad before, and it made me sort of stand to attention, and I had no idea how they'd carry on that sound in different eras, but I wanted to see it. And they've done so well so far. I think you can see that in the group's success and how their fandom seems to keep building and growing with every era. I really hope this carries on for them. Okay guys, and that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you got this far. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please give the video a thumbs up if you did, and let me know in the comments who do you think will be leading the 4th gen. If you are new here and have not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell. That'll let you be the first to hear whenever I upload. And as always, my Twitter and Instagram will be on screen if you'd like to give them a follow. I always follow back fellow K-pop stans, so let's be friends. And I'll see you next time. Bye guys!